Class, good afternoon. I'm Mr. Boone.
And I'm Mr. Delcher.
We'd like to welcome you to Boone's Garden. All right? Today, thanks to Stop and Shop, we will be planting a variety of herbs and vegetables, as you can see right here. All right? We set everything up for you. Each one of you has one of these kits. All right? So we are going to show you how to properly plant your seeds and have them grow so you can have some fresh vegetables in the garden. Hopefully you'll get something by the end of the summer. Mr. Delcher, I don't think we'll be using these big tools today, so let me put those off to the side. All right? We'll save those for another time.
So the kit today that we'll be using that's been provided by Stop and Shop has a few different things. You have 20 seed kits, a colorful tray that helps you identify the different seeds, a nice sign that you could put your own name on it, and with a marker, and a nice booklet about the growing kit. And it has information and activities that you could do at home about all the different vegetables that you're going to be growing, along with some puzzles. And
you wanted to make your own bird feeder? There's a page over
there's
here.
a page about making your own bird feeder.
Using an orange.
And also, if you do get some seedlings that get produced, you can have instructions on how it can continue to grow outside in a larger pot.
That's right. Because obviously this is going to be too big. If your seedlings do start to grow, you're going to have to transfer them to another pot or maybe even outside.
But that's for another video.
That's right. All right, so Mr. Delcher.
So what do we start? What do we have to do, Mr. Boone?
Why don't we do a whole row? How about that?
Okay.
We're gonna do one row just to show everyone.
All right.
All right. So I made one of these the other day. So our first thing here is fennel. All right. As you can see, there's a wording of fennel, and there's also a picture of what fennel looks like when it's fully grown. Right.
Of the
So
little fennel emoji.
So we take the cardboard off, and you see this little thing that looks like a coin. All right. That actually is your dirt. Okay, what else is in this little container? We have a little indicator you can stick in to show what you're going to be growing in your little pod.
Yep.
And also some seeds. All right, you do not have to open up this packet. This packet dissolves or begins to dissolve in water, and we're going to show you that right now. So, Mr. Delcher, you want to put one together for us?
Sure.
Okay.
So what we're gonna need, and what Mr. Boone is also going to provide is they're going to provide
gloves,
some
plastic spoons,
and a plastic cup.
Right.
In order to be able to.
They should all be in your kit.
To be able to do this part. So what we're going to do is we're using some other bowls and stuff today. So what we're going to do is we're going to place into our cup. This would be our cup. We place the soil pod into our bowl. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take about...
Let's try 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons. We're going to take 2 tablespoons of water. So this is just a cup of general water.
Make sure you're using cold water, guys.
And we're going to pour the water on top of the pod.
And as you can see...
And as soon as you start to pour, it starts to soak up the water. Look, it immediately soaked up the water and started to break it up. So maybe
that was 2 tablespoons. Let's add a 3rd tablespoon. All right, so that's 3. We're about 4 tablespoons right now.
There we go. That should be good. So then you're gonna break it up with the spoon. At this point, it's kind of the disc is dehydrated, so it has no water in it. Now we've added water to it.
So while Mr. Delcher is doing that, I'm going to take my little packet of seeds here, the fennel seeds. I'm going to put them into the water, all right? And as you can see, the packet is almost starting to dissolve. You can actually see right through it, all right? So I'm only going to leave them in there for a few seconds, and I'm going to lift it out, okay? Keep a little of that moisture in there, and I'm going to put this on the bottom of my pod. Okay, flatten it out on the bottom. Okay.
And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our spoon and we're gonna put soil on top of the seed.
So as Mr. Delcher's doing this, as you can see, he almost has this filled to the top. So they give you more dirt than you actually need in the pod. So you could use this for your next one, because remember, you have 20 of these to make.
And I wouldn't overfill it. I would leave a little bit of a rim, because if I need to go back later, and you're gonna be doing this about every day, I'm gonna take about a spoonful of water, or about a tablespoon of water, and I'm gonna put a tablespoon of water over it once a day.
Once a day, okay. And I take my little fennel indicator here, and I'm going to stick that in, and then we put it in the slot. Just like that. All right, Mr. Delcher, being the fact that these students are going to make these, in their homes, where is a good place to keep this so it grows properly? Where should we put this?
So the best place to put this, Mr. Boone, is going to be in a location that's warm and it gets a lot of sun, because right now the seedlings, you want to just keep them moist and keep them warm so that they'll start to germinate. But then once they start to sprout, they're going to need the sunlight. So it's best if you put it in a sunny and warm location.
Okay, good. So as you can see, Mr. Delcher is taking his next soil pod, and he's adding it.
Need a little bit more.
He's adding it to the same one.
Here we go, Mr. Boone.
We're gonna
hydrate that.
This is now basil.
Basil.
Okay, basil is an herb. We do a lot of cooking in school with basil. Actually, we just had pesto sauce for lunch, which is made with fresh basil. So what we're gonna do is, throughout this summer courses, we're gonna talk about things that you could do. I'm gonna have samples of fresh basil when it's fully grown, and show you what it looks like once it is fully mature, and what you can do with it if you wanted to make something with it. All right, so Mr. Delcher, once again, he added his water. All right, I'm gonna take this out. All right, get it nice and moist. Keep it a little bit moist. Put it inside the pod, and then you want to add the dirt again. Okay, like Mr. Delcher was saying on the previous one, the fennel, just fill it a little bit below the rim.
And you don't want to tap it down you don't want to press it all down. You want to leave it kind of loose, so that the seeds have some space to start developing their roots.
Okay.
So now the indicator.
So Mr. Delcher, let me ask you a question. We just got these beautiful flowers today, and I think these are very similar. These vegetables and these plants, are they considered perennials or annuals?
So all of these vegetables that we're looking at today are considered annuals. Annuals are plants that only grow once. They produce their seeds, and then they don't. And the only way that they're going to come back is if their seeds get germinated in the soil. So otherwise, they're not going to grow back every time.
Right.
Now, a perennial, what happens is in the fall, the plant starts to die back, the leaves fall off, but the roots still stay intact below in the soil. So then what happens is in the springtime, it starts to the plant starts to come back up and starts to produce leaves.
Huh. So what happens if I let's say I have, like you have in school, a greenhouse?
Okay.
Okay, and you seem to be able to grow herbs and vegetables, when the weather is cold outside. So why are you able to do that in a greenhouse?
The reason why we're able to do that in the greenhouse is because all of these plants here require some warm temperatures. They don't like freezing cold temperatures like we get during the winter time. So because of that, because we're creating an environment in the greenhouse or in a classroom that has heat and has sunlight and is warm enough for them to grow, they're able to stay alive.
I see. Huh.
I'm going to do this a little differently, Mr. Boone, this
Okay.
time. You could also Kids, you could also, if you wanted to, you could put a little soil down in the bottom first, and then put the seed packet in, and then put some soil on top of that.
Okay.
It's another way you can do it.
Generally, I know everything is different here. We have different herbs and different vegetables. How long do you think it'll take for something to begin to sprout?
So it should take, for most of these plants, let me double check. Let me just pick one. So you can keep this little paper piece that's wrapped around the seed pod, because it does have more information and instructions about your seeds and what's going to happen. So for example, put the seed mat, cover with the seed mat, remaining soil. To see if this says how long it will take to germinate.
Look twice a day to see. Look twice a day to see if to check to see if the soil is moist. If the pot is turning light brown and it's dry, add a little more water on the saucer or the tray. The pot will absorb the water. Okay. Then it talks about repotting. All right. So as you can see, these directions are very helpful. It helps you when they do grow beyond this little pod, what to do, how to repot them, and also indicates how to harvest them once your plant is ready to be harvested.
They should also, I'm going to say that they should sprout in about 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
Depending on, it all depends on how warm your home or your apartment is and where you have these seed pods set up.
Okay. All right.
So I just threw those got leeks here now.
Leeks are from the onion family, guys. Okay,
Oh.
Leeks, scallions, chives, shallots. All right, they're all in the onion family, right? So leeks is from the onion family. If you were to taste the leek, it would taste a little bit like onions.
Mr. Boone, you're starting.
I'm doing.
I think we got enough soil. Sometimes these pods, they could have so much extra soil that it kind of builds up, and you don't need to moisten another pod.
And the directions also indicated that as well, Mr. Delcher. You don't need all these pods. You might have some extra ones. Okay, there's no reason to throw them away. You can always use them if you want to put them outside. Just add some moisture to them. You can put the dirt outside. Or maybe if you want to plant something else, you can save the pot.
Or maybe your parent or guardian might get some more seeds, and you can use the soil.
Okay, so
you just potted that bell pepper, Mr. Boone.
Right.
So now you can put your label in.
Okay.
So we'll save these pucks. You could save the soil in case your parent or guardian wants to start some more seeds. And now, you'll continue to go through all 20 plants until, and thanks to Mr. Boone and the power of television, we have this beautiful, already set up.
Right.
This is exactly what you're going to create in the end.
Right.
All of your pods will be nice and neat, all set up with your seedlings set up.
Also, don't worry.
Nice name.
I'm sorry, Mr. Delcher.
Go ahead, Mr.
Don't worry if you get a little bit of water that when you add your water to the tray, because this tray prevents the water from going all over your counter or your windowsill, because it'll trap the water. And actually, if I lift up on one of the trays, all right, the moisture, if you did have water in there, this container would absorb the moisture and would work into the seeds. Okay, so
this shouldn't make any mess in your parent or guardian's home.
All right, so
with that,
guys, enjoy your harvesting. Enjoy your farming. All right, enjoy your planting, and we will see you again soon. Mr. Delcher, do you have anything else to say?
Nope. Have a great summer.
Great summer, guys. Take care. Good job, Mr. Delcher. I gotta go zoom.
Should I clean this up?